moderating this panel today. I'm the founder of Volto Santo, which is a lifestyle apparel adaptive brand. You see we have a setup over there in the corner. Please go check it out because I dragged my parents, both of them, out here at 6 in the morning, and they're gonna be really upset with me later if nobody goes over to the booth. So please feel free to go meet them and check it out. We are a newer adaptive brand. We've been on the scene for under 2 years now. And in these 2 years, we've had the incredible honor of being part of this amazing community. And it's really special to me because I'm someone who has been part of the community my entire life. I had a stroke when I was born, so the left side of my body is partially paralyzed. And I've always been someone who, I'm from Brooklyn, I've always been super into fashion. And adaptive fashion was something that I've been looking for my entire life because I wanted to make products that I thought were cool and then say, here's how it can make your life more accessible. So that's what we kind of did with Volto Santo in the sense where I made those silhouettes that I thought were really cool from a lifestyle apparel lens and then said, you know what, here's how we can make it adaptive and inclusive for everyone. I also have a marketing agency called Nova House where I work with accounts on marketing, most notably G3, and we'll be able to talk a little bit about that today with Joel. And I was honored to have been able to witness Joel really bring this adaptive program at G3 to life. And yeah, it's just, I mean, it's been such an amazing honor to be here today and talk to our two amazing panelists. And I'll just get right into it. I'm gonna let you guys introduce yourselves. The three of us here today come to adaptive fashion from 3 different lenses. So it's gonna be an interesting conversation here to kind of see how 3 different people approach adaptive fashion. So we'll start with Joe.
Hi everybody. Who am I? I'm Vice President of Sales for G3. I'm lucky enough to work for a company, G3 Apparel. If you're not familiar with them, they're a $2 billion fashion house. They own brands like Donna Karan and Karl Lagerfeld. They have expertise in the women's accessories and fashion space. They also do a lot of licensed business with brands like Calvin and Tommy and Converse, Champion. Myself, I work for one of the divisions of G3. It's the licensed sports division. We have licenses with all 4 professional sports leagues, NFL, Major League Baseball, NHL, and NBA, as well as colleges. So we're a division inside G3. My role inside there is, one of my roles is to lead the dropship business that we have. It's a direct-to-consumer, on-demand business that we have. So I think my purpose today is, as the new person in this space, there are people here with a lot of experience. I'm here to learn, and I'm very humbled and thankful to be here. I'm here on a panel with Josh, who's been in the space for a long time, as well as the other panelists.
Awesome, thank you so much. I'm Josh. I am the CEO and president of Silverts and Is Adaptive. They're 2 of the oldest adaptive clothing companies in the world. And I guess I've been in the business for 15 years, and I gotta say, sharing the stage today with all of the people that have been here, I'm totally blown away. I met Mindy and the Runway of Dreams team many years ago when kind of Silverts was just producing really not fashionable polyester-based garments that really served an aging community and not much else. And to be here in Fashion Week, I remember my first Runway of Dreams show in 2022, just seeing the evolution of the community and where everyone has got to today. I'm completely humbled and blown away. The conversation of the last panel and first panel, it's pretty remarkable where adaptive clothing has gone, and yeah, honored to be here.
Awesome, well thank you guys so much for sharing that. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
I've never used a mic like this before. I feel like I'm about to like show you guys the new iPhone or something, but it's very cool. And yeah, thank you guys so much for those wonderful introductions. And I would like to have some individual questions for you guys to talk a little bit about what you guys are doing in the space. So we'll start with you, Josh. Josh, first of all, the suit, I mean, you did not have to come and flex on everybody like that today.
You plan on cutting your sleeve off, by the way.
You and I have never met in person yet, and what a first impression, let me tell you. I mean, I'm a little jealous, I will say. But for those of you who don't know Josh, I mean, Josh is a pioneer in this space. He's somebody who, with Silverts, has really seen it all. I mean, he's seen brands come and go, and he's really been able to create an amazing business model over at Silverts, from, you know, assisted living to independent dressing to now a younger market. And Josh, I wanted to ask you, what were those consumer behaviors or signals that kind of led to those decisions to expand over at Silverts?
Yeah, it's a good question. So on the suit, I would just thank my wife and my business partner who's here with me, Michelle, who really helps bring any style I have to the surface. But so Silverts was really serving an aging demographic, really focused on nursing homes. And you know, to reiterate some themes that have really come out of the panel, we just started listening. And I think social media was a big tool where we were able to plug into our community, to our audiences, and start to understand what people actually wanted out of adaptive fashion. And again, even our audience, the Asian community, they're evolving. This isn't like the Golden Girls anymore, right? People aren't going to wear gabardine pants, which is really what built kind of the old Silverts business. So we've been forced to evolve. And again, social media was really the tool where we were able to plug into our community and start to listen. And Mindy and a lot of the Runway team asked us a lot of the tough questions that really forced us to better understand ourselves, and ultimately led to the forced evolution of our business model. So we recently, you know, we tried to solve the problem. How are we going to take Silverts, which is a brand serving a really aging demographic, but also cast a wider net, serve a greater audience? Are we going to take today's business and try to make adaptive clothing for everyone? Because I think we lose the heart of the message that we really promoted. So, you know, my longtime friend and mentor is Izzy Camilleri is here, who's another pioneer in adaptive fashion, and we just completed an acquisition of Is Adaptive to merge Silverts and Is, and make sure that we can really effectively bring fashionable style to a much broader audience and serve our community at some reasonable scale. You know, from kind of the first challenges of some dressing needs all the way through the more evolved dressing needs that happen when you're older.
Awesome, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Another thing too, that when you and I first met and had a conversation about everything that you guys are doing, one thing that you said that really stuck with me was you talked about knowing your audience, and you said something that I had never heard before, but it was just so interesting. You said, saying that you make clothing for people with disabilities is like saying you make clothing for people. So can you touch a little bit on that, about what you meant when you said that, and what does that mean for, you know, the population of people that you're marketing to, and how you really can strict your audience down to something that makes sense for your brand, whether it be Silverts or any other brand?
Sure, absolutely. I think, you know, so this panel topic is about the opportunities of fashion, and I think it's hard to watch and listen to what we've heard so far today and not see incredible opportunities ahead. But, you know, on a note, for what I share of a lot of the people that have come into the space and left and have failed, I think we've seen, you know, people try to address a category of humans as broad as people with disabilities. You're talking about 1.3 billion people, as Mindy said. You can't, you know, you wouldn't see a clothing brand being like, our clothes are for humans. Like, it's not gonna work, especially as there's, and the broad spectrum of disabilities that people have. So I think a lot of the companies we've seen, like the marketplaces that have kind of come and go, are just trying to serve a really broad audience. And, you know, when I look at the opportunity in this space, I think it starts with knowing your audience and understanding your market and building products that really work and that really help. And if we start there, that's where you can have a winning brand, a winning product, or a winning business.
Definitely agree with you. I mean, at the end of the day, this is not something that's just a niche or a gimmick. This is something that is really better business. I mean, we all hear the stat in this room, we've probably all heard it before, that 1 in 4 Americans have a disability. But I'll take it a step further and let you know that people with disabilities, between them, their caretakers, and their family, they have a spending power of $13 trillion. So that is something that if your brand is not getting involved in adaptive now, you're missing out on an incredible business opportunity. And to Josh's point, it's just something that not only is it inclusive, it's something that, I mean, you can make a product that is available on your brand that maybe someone else may not have had the opportunity to purchase from your brand before, which is great, but also you're driving this business model that has incredible potential. So with that, I would love to ask Joel a couple of questions as he is here representing G3, which is a new mainstream entrant to the adaptive space. And Joel, I mean, I've seen you put your heart into this whole adaptive thing. I've seen the blood, sweat, and tears, and I'm so excited that you could finally share with this audience about what that process was like. So we know G3 is a company with a lot of different sectors between G3 Sports by Carl Banks, Starter, G3 for Her, Margaritaville. I mean, the list goes on. So my question for you, Joel, is why adaptive? Why did this make sense for your business model, and how does it fit into G3 for the long term?
Good question. So why are we here? I think the first part of it was we have, as part of G3, the licensed sports division. Our president is Carl Banks. And for those of you that don't know him, he was a New York Giant. He's a two-time Super Bowl champion, Ring of Honor member. And we've had partnerships with the leagues for a very long time. And the leagues have also gotten much more in tune to inclusivity and that stuff. So through conversations with our management, Carl, and the leagues, we want to be a part of this. Now, there's the business angle of this that, yes, it is an untapped community. This was white space. Just from the business side, this was white space. There was nobody servicing the fan in this space. So from a business angle, that made sense. From a partnership angle, it made sense. From a personal angle, for me, I was at PVH like Matthew and was sort of in the crowd of the Tommy Hilfiger adaptive launch, and then building that, and I was very envious, and I thought it was amazing, and I thought it was wonderful. You know, and this is newer for me and our team personally being in the space. So we're learning, we're here to learn. So when the opportunity came to to G3 and Carl, to partner with the leagues on an adaptive business, we were all in. So we started with a men's adaptive business, and when it first launched, the conversations happened about 2 years ago. When it first launched, we launched a product that was built with partnership of a lot of what they learned from Tommy Hilfiger, because G3 and PVH were close partners. And I think the key thing for me that we learned is that there were a lot of resistance. You know, there was a lot of retailer resistance in the beginning. Our biggest customer is Fanatics, and they really were not servicing this consumer as well from a product standpoint, consumer experience standpoint. So I think when you look at the business journey that we went on, we learned a lot very quickly. So I got involved because I managed the dropship piece of our business. And the reality of what our business was is we came to market with product, and our customers were able to service it partially, because if you think about it, 4 leagues, 30 to 32 teams per league, and trying to have product for all those different fans in all those different teams, it's a very expensive investment. So the resistance that we heard earlier about retailer resistance, there was a resistance to basically invest the needed money to be there for everybody. And the leagues really want this to work. So we kind of stepped back when I got involved and said, we need to change the business model. So the business model that we changed to is we leveraged our drop ship print-on-demand business for this. And we said, listen, if we're gonna do this and we want this to be successful, we need to take we need to take risk. So with the support of Carl and G3, we decided to flip the business model and add in this direct-to-garment print business into this model. And what that allows us to do, we worked with, right away I went to Mindy. I really personally also wanted this to be authentic. I'm not part of the community. I wanted this to be authentic, so I went right to Mindy and said, I need your help. I really want to make sure we do this the right way. So we worked with the Gamma team, and we did focus group testing with people to make sure that the product functioned. We took their feedback before we cut all the product, and then made sure that we're using language that makes sense, make sure we're using the right models. So we cut all these blanks. So it's basically t-shirts. We do fan wear. It's not performance wear, it's fan wear. So it's t-shirts, short sleeve, long sleeve, and fleece, hoodies, crew necks, and jackets. And we have all these blanks. And then basically we can now say to the fan, choose whatever team in the retailer, you can have every team set up on your site. Right, when we get these blanks in, we create these great graphics, and any fan, a Minnesota Twins fan, can go on the site and find an assortment of product. And they have choices now, where before they didn't. So now what that did for the leagues as well, the leagues had trouble marketing because the retailers couldn't buy everybody, so they can't market 12 teams. So by doing this and taking the risk on, we can go to the retailers and say, listen, we have the risk. Just get this on, and now we took that out of the mix. Don't worry about it, we got it. So now that gave us the ability to get all the leagues and teams represented, which that's very important. You have to represent everybody. And the next piece of that then allows the leagues now to say, okay, great, now we can speak to the fan, to every fan. And the last piece of the business model really was the consumer, the experience on the sites. You know, our largest customer, we have a great relationship with Fanatics. They are the premier destination for fan apparel. But when you go on the site, in the search bar, if you typed adaptive, you got a lot of other stuff. You didn't get adaptive product. We got a mixture of stuff. So we worked with them and partnered with them, and they were great in allowing us now to have the navigation be a much more natural experience. And if someone searches, we got them on the drop-down menu, someone searches adaptive, they only see a landing page of adaptive apparel. It's the stuff that we did on imports, and it's all of our dropship. So now we can work with the leagues and markets. So this whole thing is brand new. Legitimately, the first image went live on Saturday. So this is all new. So we still have a learning curve for this.
And guys, I've really got to give it to Joel because he is somebody that has always prioritized the community in this initiative. Actually, I'll share a story. Before Joel and I had even met, Joel knew that I was involved in adaptive fashion and was a member of the community, and he actually invited me into his office one day and asked me what I thought about the garments. He asked me what I thought about the accessibility. He shared some feedback that he got from people where there was some things about the garments that maybe people liked or didn't like, and he asked me for my opinion because one thing that he really communicated to me was that the community's approval of this is so important, and it was so important to him. So I know Mindy was talking earlier about how you never really know what goes on behind the closed doors of how an adaptive product is developed, but I want to assure all you that, I mean, I've watched it with my own eyes. I mean, Joel really put the community first in this initiative. So Joel, my last question for you is, why was that so important to put the community first in creating an authentic product with G3 and G3 Adaptive?
So why was it important? It really, to me, not being part of the community, I did not want to just take the business side of this and run with the business side. It just didn't make any sense to me. I know this time and energy to build and do the right way. I wanted to start off with as much information, and the Gamma team and Mindy were wonderful. They really took me under their wing and helped me learn, and I leveraged them tremendously and their resources so that we could do something that is as authentic as possible. This is not going to be perfect. I know this is not going to be perfect, but I think when anybody goes on the site now and they search for their favorite team, sports is universal. There's an emotional attachment to your team, just like there's an emotional attachment to getting something that you bring home that fits well, that wears well, and you're happy with it. So we wanted to combine the two things, and if you go to fanatics.com, everybody can feel free to do that and just go into the adaptive page. You can find all the product there that we did for our initial launch. One of the coolest things, I'll take one more second. One of the coolest things is we did a very fashionable piece, which is also very sports related, is a satin jacket, right? So you take a satin jacket, a varsity jacket that's out there in lots of different ways, and starter, and we know that these are iconic pieces. So we did magnets behind all the snaps. You would not look at this jacket for 1 second and think that this is made as adaptive. You wear it, you put it on, and they snap. And they're easy to undo, but they snap back. It's the coolest jacket. And right now, we launched Saturday. We already sold 32 units in 2 days. Yeah. That's great. Without telling anybody it's there, it's the biggest secret ever right now. The secret's going to be out pretty soon. I have my marketing boys here, so it's going to be out. We're working with the leagues very closely, and then everybody will know. But I think that's what's fun about it for me is I like fashion, I like clothing, and this is another audience. I think it feels good. Just feels good to be involved. And I know there's a business angle, because that's why we're here. There is a business angle to this as well.
Definitely, and that was a great segue because I really want to bring it back to what Heather was saying a little bit earlier about making sure that the fashion is just as much of a priority as the adaptive aspect of whatever brand that you're working with. I mean, I can give you my personal experience from like building Volto Santo. It was something where I needed it to be a garment that I liked first before I could say, okay, how are we going to make this adaptive? Because at the end of the day, the end goal for this adaptive thing is be able to integrate this across all type of brands, no matter what genre of clothing that you're in. So it's really something that the story behind what your brand represents and what kind of clothing it is, why you like it, why you think it's cool, is so important to the storytelling of the brand. I mean, even for us, we have, we're able to tell this story to our customers with disabilities, and honestly, even to our customers without disabilities. I mean, we've had, I just recently had a conversation with an NFL player who loves our brand, and he has a niece who's a wheelchair user. So he has a very special place in his heart for our brand because he has a personal connection to it. So even though I was talking to him about the brand and he's somebody who's not a part of the community, he knew somebody that was in the community. So it's all about educating people and really letting people know, what this adaptive mission is and what we're doing here with this product. So both of you kind of touched on it a little bit about why that's so important, the authenticity of a brand, and why that really is a driving force for the brand's DNA and everything that it represents within the adaptive community. So I know we're going a little bit off script, but we still have some time, so I would love for both of you to kind of emphasize how that authenticity impacts your business model. So we could start with you, Josh.
Yeah, I think a lot of the work that we do at Silverts starts with an empathy problem, right? We're not really experiencing the problems we're trying to solve. So we've really worked hard to understand our consumers. I have, our head of product is joining us here today and has a background in geriatrics, and I think really understanding how the clothing that we make is used in facilities and is used by the people who wear the clothing and those who help dress them. And I think if we're really focused on that, we're gonna create great products. We've had a lot of misses along the way of products that we thought might really catch the attention of users. And I think, where we've succeeded and where we've, found our kind of our calling card is when we've listened, back to that theme. So I think that's helped Silverts be who we are, and I think, as a collective brand, to be authentic, I think it's all the channels in which you're communicating. So when I think about where we've had success there as well, it's speaking to our customers, it's on social media, and that's where Silverts has found a lot of its traction and a lot of its true authentic voice and just being ourselves every day.
Definitely, and I really appreciate that because the reason why I asked you the question first is because authenticity has a direct correlation with longevity. So you guys have clearly been authentic for all this time, and that's the reason why it's worked. So thank you so much for that and everything that you guys are doing for the community. So,
when you talk about authenticity for us, we as a manufacturer with licenses, so we put the product under G3 by Carl Banks. We have a responsibility to put out a quality product. We have licenses with the leagues, the NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, and NHL. I have responsibility to them as well. We're using their teams and their trademarks on our product. So to come out with something that's not authentic, it's just not the right thing to do, and we couldn't rush it. So, we went through the process with Gamut. We, for everything from using their models in our shoot. So all of the PDP images are going to be models in the community. So I think for us, that was very important, just because we're just a manufacturer, a brand owner, but also represent the leagues as well as we do this. So we were lucky enough to work with the team to get the Gamut seal of approval on our product as well. So that's really feels good.
I think it's a great point that representation is such a big part of
Absolutely.
authenticity.
Yes, definitely.
To learn, and we're gonna keep pivoting. This was a big pivot, quite frankly, from selling product up front, which is the best way to do it. You sell it up front, they buy it. I'm good, you're good, thank you. You know, now I have to sit there and I have to plan out exactly how much inventory I'm gonna have for the size, color, level for all these different things, and we take the risk on it. So it just requires a different business mind model and how to fit it together so that you can work. We don't wanna be one of those companies that goes out. We wanna be here for the long term. So we're trying to do all the things right in order to do that. But again, we're new, we're still learning, and I think the next several months are very eye-opening for us as we start to get consumer feedback from the site.
I love it. So awesome, guys. So now I would love to open up the floor to some questions if anybody has questions. I'm gonna go with this guy here in the front row in the Yankee hat. I actually know him. That's Tony Shelton, guys. That's if you guys don't know Tony Shelton, he's the godfather of streetwear, head of marketing, G3. I'm gonna give you all your flowers. So go ahead. What's your question, Tony?
My question I have for the panelists and the moderator is, I've seen the Volto Santo site, seen what G3 is doing, but how do you tie it into marketing and staying current with today's trends in fashion and even the models, type of photo shoots, storytelling? What's your perspective on that?
Definitely. I could start if you guys are okay with that. I just think it's so important to, like I was saying before, keep that DNA of whatever brand you're working with is. So I actually just did a photo shoot this past Friday where the vibe was very New York City, attitude, raw, and it was an amazing photo shoot because we stayed true to what the brand represented, and all of our models were adaptive. So it was something where it came out like really authentic and true because we weren't, like I said before, this isn't a gimmick. Like this is something that really means something to people in the community, and we were able to really put together a great photo shoot that told that story through clothing. So I'll turn it over to you guys if you guys want to touch on that as well.
So for us, I have Tony, which helps us be authentic and real and be on trends. No, I think we have a design team that's always looking, obviously, for things to try to be current in our designs. The great thing about our model, our leveraging dropship, is we can change designs quickly. The blanks are there. I can just change the designs and always put up newness and create new things. So I can always be on top of different design trends that we can print on the garments. From a marketing perspective, again, I think we have the luxury of having great, phenomenal leagues. There's some of these leagues are, obviously the reach that they have is tremendous. So I think when you talk about marketing, I think that's one of the things that we're gonna learn from and push, but have the ability and we're lucky to work with great leagues and Fedcap and these large companies that can speak to fans from everywhere. And then how we now try to refine that and target it to the audience is going to be our next challenge, so that we can, where we do spend marketing money, it's spent really directly and as efficiently as possible.
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think, for the core business of Silverts, our biggest challenge is marketing. Like most people, it's category awareness. Most people just don't know that the products and solutions we offer exist. So they'll buy a sweatshirt that's like a triple XL to put on their aging loved one because it can go on aimlessly. So, we spend a lot of time marketing at Silverts to the adult child of an aging parent, which is a little bit tricky and certainly a little bit more expensive. One breakthrough that we've recently experienced is partnering with individuals who need our clothing. So we partnered with Brooke Eddy, who's a woman with ALS, and she really helped us not just evaluate our current clothing need, but create a product line that suited her, and suited other individuals who might be experiencing the same challenges that she is. And leveraging kind of the network that Brooke has to really distribute our message has been a really big game changer for us, and helping to make sure that more and more people know that these solutions exist.
Awesome.
you have any other questions at all, anybody? Okay, in the back, right there.
Hi, my name is Chow. I guess it's a continuation of the comments that were just said. I'm an occupational therapist working at a school in Midtown for kids and young adults with significant multiple disabilities, mostly related to brain injury, and I also run our adaptive fashion closet. And so like you said, most of our families don't know what exists. They might know of things through our closet. We provide adaptive shoes. Currently we're working on our adaptive costume lending closet, mostly Target and Disney. Have you worked with smaller nonprofits or schools where they do have a lot of need for that, and also families with various income levels? We are always seeking like samples or just knowing what is out there. As you know, that's not my main job. I'm an occupational therapist, but we do help people find more independence in getting dressed and expressing themselves. Although you did say some of the challenges, there is such a need, and I think getting from the top to the therapists, to the families, to different nonprofits, is there like a budget for that, or how is the outreach happening, or is it through events like this?
I think, so it's a fantastic question, and it's one we ask ourselves constantly. I think, you kind of outlined that there's two different approaches. One is a grassroots approach, which we've recently kind of taken on. So can we reach nursing students, PSW students who are going to be kind of the front lines dressing some of these individuals? And I think that has like opportunities to work. And I think there's the other side of that is the top-down approach. We're trying to take on events like this and reach kind of the top of some of these agencies, like an OT group or council or association, and trying to spread the message downward. Haven't truly unlocked it, to be quite honest, and I think that's one of the ongoing kind of challenges. How do we get our products into the hands of anyone who can benefit from them? Because that's one of the beauties of it. We can make, we're not making t-shirts, right, that anyone can just wear and just as a brand, that's cool. We are also making functional products, and let's make sure that if there's a need, if there's a benefit, that people know that it exists and that it can be accessible to them.
I love that. Yeah, I feel like from my perspective, I guess coming from a small brand is, as a newer brand, people aren't necessarily coming to you because they don't know you yet. So really you have to do the extra work on finding those people and finding those communities. So it's been great for us at Volto Santo to kind of find those people that I know in my community that might be, PTs, OTs. We just had one of my friends just included our brand in her capstone. We have an event coming this Saturday. It's a adaptive 5K that we're working on. So, and these are just people that I know and that I've met at events like this. So I feel like if anybody is coming at it from the lens of an entrepreneurial lens and a smaller brand, it's really just all about networking and finding those communities on your own, because they're not always going to come to you. You really have to seek them out. So, do we have any other questions? Okay, right here.
Hi, my name is Yanni. My partner and I come from FIT, and we actually did a case study with G3 last year, so it's really cool to hear your perspective. I have a question on pricing because we're doing a lot of research on that. How do you determine the pricing for your products, and is it any different from non-adaptive pricing?
Good question. So from a pricing perspective, it's not different how we price. There's no differences in how we price it. The cost sheet on how we price it from fabric and make and all that stuff is all the same. What it costs us to import and all that stuff. So there's no difference from the actual costing process. The cost differences are in the product. So if where there are magnets or things like that, if there's more make in it, obviously it costs us more. To be honest with you, when you look at moving from an import business to a drop ship business, there's also a cost there. We're holding inventory on that stuff. So when you really look at overall, our goal when we went out was not to price this. To be honest with you, I didn't want to price this more. Let's try to be as close to normal t-shirt and hoodie prices as possible. And that's how we priced it. We wanted to go out the right price so it's a fair value, and that there's quality behind it. When you get it, you're gonna feel the fabric. It's gonna be a soft, nice fabric. It's gonna have the functionality that it needs to have, that we believe it needs to have in the right places. And then from a costing perspective, just having the mindset of what would they pay for it? Is the value there? There is, in the costing, is obviously we're working with leagues. There's royalty for leagues and that stuff, so that's built in just as we normally would for any other product.
Josh?
Can I ask a quick question?
You went first, of course you can.
I'm asking devil's advocate question.
Hi, I'm just asking devil's advocate questions because I'm disabled, but I also run loads of manufacturing, so I know the issues on the scale of commerciality. But knowing that, for example, your jacket, your satin jacket, where it just clips together, is there not going to be, going forward, a number of items that you will commercialize and actually delete the ones that you've made before because this is adaptable and really cool at the same time? So that justifies where your price point can drop on volume further down the road.
Great question, and the scalability obviously would be important. That I think we're going to learn. We're going to get the feedback from consumers who purchased that jacket that was not, and as people try it in the office, we get feedback. So I think we're going to learn. We're in the infancy stages of that. Again, very frank, we brought in. We're not at scale right now, so we're not there yet. We try to be as sharp as we can on prices because we're not at scale, and for us to learn, the product has to be at the prices we would want to be at. So I think it's a great question. I think if we do get feedback, and I don't think this is going to replace all t-shirts. But as we find niche items, I think there could be some things where maybe it does. I don't know. I hate to say that we know exactly what it's going to be, but the feedback's great, and I would love for that. That would be amazing.
Josh, you want to touch on pricing?
I mean, the only other thing I'd say about pricing is we're up in the fabric business, of course, to make clothing adaptive with the full back overlaps and the wraps and the different construction. Fabric yields are great, our prices are naturally a little higher, and where I'm hopeful is that we can turn to some government support and agencies like Medicare. We have footwear that's covered at Silverts because it's non-slip and it's for diabetics, but I think if we look at just help for dressing, in a nursing home setting, I call on Medicare to maybe look at ways that we can evolve care and make it a little bit easier and seamless and make adaptive kind of the standard of care for an aging community. And that's certainly something that we are pushing forward with all our might, because that has true, what we always say about adaptive at Silverts is that we make a difference every day in the lives of the people who wear our clothing and those who help dress them. And in the aggregate, it does have very powerful impacts. So we're here to spread those impacts as far as we can.
Thank you for that, Josh. We'll do one more question, one final question. I don't know if we're allowed to repeat questions, but we have a question repeater here in the second row.
Yeah, hi, I'm Tony, I'm a question repeater. Adapted for 200, I'd like to go with no. No, Pat, I want to actually ask you a question. You've been in this space your whole life. My question to you is, outside of the fashion part, I get it, you're a really cool hip young person, outside I see your swag, your dress, but as an entrepreneur, business person, what possessed you to get into the business and understand the business and not just make it about adaptive, but just to make it about your business? I want to understand how you're scaling Volto Santo. And the other question I think we all want to know, what does Volto Santo even mean?
So
there you go. And my other piece
Yeah.
was, I know you had mentioned Runway of Dreams with Mindy, and obviously, I was new to this, and you put me on to this, as we say, put me up on game. And I mean, once I started digging really deep and I saw how amazing Runway of Dreams was, I'd heard about it, quite frankly, I'd heard about it, especially during Fashion Week, you always hear about it, it's like a staple in the business. But when you start to get deeper and all this stuff, and spending time with those folks, and you see how deep it is, how'd you get involved in what made you come up with all this?
Yeah, so to answer the second part of your question, the name, Volto Santo. Volto Santo actually means the face of God in Italian. And I grew up in the belief that you could see the face of God in anybody. So I wanted to make a brand that included everybody and really represented that. And I also thought it was an awesome fashion brand name. So as soon as I heard it, I was like, this is the one, we're doing it. So, but to answer the other part of your question, yes, I am somebody that has been in the community my entire life. I mean, my dad was just telling somebody that I was drawing designs at 10 years old for whatever my future clothing brand was gonna be. But I think that the important part for me about making sure that I was knowledgeable on the business was that I want this to be something that is gonna be around. I want this to be something that is gonna stand the test of time. So I knew that that was an important aspect of being able to have that brand. And what you were saying about Mindy and Runway of Dreams, Gamut, Fedcap is so true because really and honestly, Mindy didn't know me before. And I went up to her one day and I was like, hey, I have a brand, this is what it is. And her first thing that she said was, how can I help? And that's the type of community that we have here. So my call to action is to any of you in the crowd right now, whether you're just getting into the space or if you've been in it for a little bit, I mean, we're here to help you. We're here to grow together because this community is not gonna grow unless we do it together. So I speak for myself, I speak for the other panelists in saying that if anybody has any questions, want to pick our brain or some advice or anything, please feel free because we really do stand on the shoulders of the giants that come before us, and all of us that are here today have to, turn around and pay it forward in order to keep this, community growing and this sector of business growing from a business model standpoint. So I do want to thank the audience. Thank you guys so much for your attention. Thank you to our amazing panelists. I want to thank Runway of Dreams, Fedcap, Gamut, for being such incredible hosts today. This is an amazing event. Thank you guys so much for giving us all the opportunity. And I've told Mindy this before, you guys have really paved the way for all of us. And at the end of the day, it's the truth. None of this would be here without you guys. So thank you for continuing to push that envelope and keep it going.